Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and people. Welcome to episode 6 of MNW In A Nutshell, which is episode 3 of Flashbang in a Nutshell for the show dated Sunday, the 5th of September, 2021, Pacific Standard Time. Once again, this is for the show originally Friday Night Flashbang, which can be found on twitch.tv/Edward Bosco. My name is Carla Bader from Victoria, Australia, and I will be your host for this Nutshell Recap series. I am MNW's resident bookkeeper and statistician. In this recap, we will be covering just a little bit of extra data, which will come after the showcase match. So without further ado, let's discuss the first match of Flashbang, which was the 8-man showcase eliminations, falls count anywhere, 7 pins or submissions to get to a win. We have APS member Seth Justice Jackson, trademark no longer pending, he came in rank 8. We have original 4 Horsemen member and now partners with Helix Sucks, Ramund, he came at rank 7. We have Dr. Caliban's Frankenstein creation, The Creation, Christopher Caliban, coming at rank 6. We have the Cult Classic, Henry Colt, coming at rank 5. We have our Beast Mum, Naja, coming at rank 4. And then we've got our friendly but fierce Nekomata of Spectre Sonata, TK. She came at rank 3. And then we have our Bot Boy Cyber Controller coming in at rank 2. And then we've got our newly refurbished, I am not sure what he's trying to portray, the Grim Reaper coming in with a win with a pinfall. And as I promised earlier this week to the wider community, I am going to just run through these showcase win records so that you can be up to date with the data. So without further ado, here are the records for the showcase wins as of the 5th of September 2021. The characters, there are 39 of them, with 1 win are Nero Napier, Apollo Hades, Henry Colt, Seth Jackson, Scott E. Stevens, the Slamphibian, Ginger Boy when he was on Flashbang, he is now on Warzone, DeLuna 13, Otoro Azul, Joseph Cowman, Red Star Roman, Aqualung, the Omni Geek, Moira Draco, Raymond, Electroman, Cleaver, Aurelian Starhand, Demolition Fox, Samuel Manatee, Satyrus Basilicus, Cyber Controller, Sheepy, Labras Basilicus, Rico Rose, which is yet to be adopted, but there's a creation stream today, so we'll see what happens there. And then also with 1 win, Jack the Questionable, Mr. Rabbit, the Night Reaper Zericus, Kevin Blackwell, Nitzig Gunk Gobbler, Ravolos, Simon the Psycho, Jagger Blackthorn, Tiki the Troll, Cool J Kyo, Helix Sucks, Kath Gina, the Grim Reaper, and then Shere Khan, who scored his win on Warzone. And now we have 1 win, but then they also won a non-canon showcase match, and that record goes to Alexis Edmonton. Next up, we will have who got 2 showcase wins so far. So for 2 wins, we have Huge Mane, Madness, Suicide Gemini, Brandon Boss, The Curator, Matt Baker, Dragoon, Brawl Kaiser, El Pollo de la Muerte, The Crimson Phoenix, and Naja. So that's 11 of them with 2 wins. Next up, 3 wins. There's 3 of them. We have Kimwang, the Aristocratic Canid, and Mad Jester Fool, who is also Kuso Kale. Next up, we have 1 4-time winner, and that is Big Rock. Next up, we have our 5-time winner who is king of the showcase due to Multivania. That is Lasume the Robot. So next up, I have a slide of how many characters have won a showcase match. So 40 of them with 1 win, 11 with 2 wins, 3 with 3 wins, and then you've got 4 and 5, so that's 56 showcase winners. The next one is how many matches have been won, or how many matches there have been. Sorry, that's a confusing stat. 81 matches. So that is 56 characters out of 81 showcase matches. And that is the end for the showcase records. We will now proceed to all the other events that have happened in the Sunday afternoon Flashbang. So now we have our first audio promo from the Cyber Controller himself, who was in that showcase match. So he says that the brass paired Cyber Controller with Cool J Kyo, just as he predicted. Even though the first bout with AAA was a loss, they are planning to make sure that this loss doesn't happen again. The thought of losing to Sheepy, such a crude clone creator, it bothers him a bit though. And from this experience though, the rise of the Cyberbots shall come about. So they are naming their tag team the Cyberbots, and they shall destroy anybody in their way in order to fear the deletion. So then we have our next match of Sunday afternoon Flashbang. It is a singles match. As we know, there were 2 4-way tag team matches last week, and the winners of those matches were Spectre Sonata and the Forces of Nature. So depending on who wins at the Super Show, those teams will be facing off. They'll be facing each other, and then the winner at the Super Show. So here are some representatives from those tag teams. We have Punk Master Ghost of Spectre Sonata facing Huge Mane of the Forces of Nature. Huge Mane won the match with a pin to Punk Master. And then we have our second audio promo, which is from Alexis Edmonton. Alexis says she has every respect for Lady Nausea, who is the prophet in Lionel Matrix. Alexis says that she is merely calling Matrix and his holy quest. It's as if he controls Lady Nausea, so to speak. Alexis believes in one making their own luck. In MNW, she says her losses are her own, and that, it's just her solely not doing her best. She's not blaming anybody else for the results. Though, Alexis does accept Matrix's challenge, one-on-one. Henry Colt can watch on the ring side if he likes. Alexis, however, says that she will be alone, but they're not going to do the match now. She says thanks to Eric at the Super Show. So this match will happen at the Super Show between Alexis Edmonton and Lionel Matrix. The place to test Alexis's new armor, the Nowhere Academy Tactical Heavy Armored Life Incubation / Naphtali suit. And that's it. Sorry if my words are a bit finicky. Speaking's a bit hard today. I had a lot of technical issues last night. The technology was being relentless. So it's just a matter of, getting this out there. So without further ado, we have our first in-ring promo from Artemis, the Omni Slayer. Artemis expected Jagger Blackthorn's words. It wasn't a surprise to him. But then he says that Jagger Blackthorn taught him to follow his gut and to do what is right, regardless of anybody else's opinion. Yes, Artemis is not surprised about Jagger's reaction. However, he is disappointed that Jagger was the one that volunteered to be the front man. If Jagger really wants to do this, then Artemis has no problem. He had no problem in making things right and curing Blight Howlis, as once again, Jagger said to do what is right, so if Artemis could do it again, he would. And because of the fallout of what's happened, Artemis declares that there will be a match between him and Jagger Blackthorn at the Super Show once again. And he says that perhaps the student is surpassing the teacher. I guess we'll see next week whether this is a true reflection of that. So we have our next audio promo, which is from our suspended general manager and co-commentator at the moment, Mr. Rabbit. Mr. Rabbit is basically informing the roster that there is a formation of an eventual group that he calls the Grand Equation, which is an 80s inspired faction apparently. Mr. Rabbit says he may already have some of the members, but we have to wait until the Super Show to find out. And, we all worry about this. We're like, you're finding people again. Hopefully it's not the same result that he got with the crew. The betrayal there with Archov and Engie and wherever the heck they went now. Poor Mr. Rabbit, I really do hope things work out for him. In his best interests. So now we have our third match of the afternoon, which is a singles match, which is Johann Myeon against not the real Nero. Once again, it seems like it's training against Sheepy's creation of Mecha Nero. We can't see it clearly in the picture, but trust me, I don't think Sheepy would be accompanying the real Nero to the ring these days after what happened in Apex. That's more for another day. So Johann Myeon thankfully picks up the win to Mecha Nero with a pinfall. So with that being said, Johann should be ready to face Nero Napier for the World Heavyweight title defense at the Super Show. And then we have our fourth audio promo, which is from the Bulldog Grant Martin. In this promo, Grant Martin swears that he's seen Kevin Blackwell's exact same behaviour last year. He says a bucket-headed narcissist jumps my friend Khan in the ring and lays him out. He says that Kevin Blackwell is desperate to remind people that he exists because, otherwise how else would he remind people if he just doesn't replay the old hits, What new repertoire has he got? He's getting boring. Or so he thinks. At least, can somebody put Mr. Rabbit in protective custody so he's not brawled over again? Although the Bulldog reluctantly gives Kevin Blackwell some credit that Grant Martin, DeLuna 13 and Simon the Psycho would never have come together if it wasn't for, Kevin's shenanigans. Not all of Honor Bound can be present at the time being to thank Kevin Blackwell, but Grant Martin the Bulldog would like to relieve one of his old hits and give it to Kevin Blackwell's throat. Oof. So then we have a response from Kevin Blackwell, the Gladiator himself, which is done in the ring as the second in-ring promo. Kevin Blackwell says that this is the same old Grant Martin running his mouth and never being able to get anything done. Kevin Blackwell is indeed reliving an old hit, but he says he was doing this because if he didn't, perhaps Shere Khan would strike him first. So he says he's rather just beating Shere Khan to the punch. He says he thinks he's on Shere Khan's radar, so Kevin Blackwell showed up, which is basically what I just said. My notes say the same thing. He says that calling out Kevin Blackwell is a death sentence. So there's the Gladiator's anger right there. And as many people have commented, does he have nothing better to do than solely being angry? Where's the rationality in these situations? I guess we'll find out. He says, so Shere Khan against Kevin Blackwell at the Super Show, but for Grant Martin, he'll be facing mercenary Jack the Questionable along. So Grant Martin and DeLuna 13 will be facing Jack the Questionable. Who knows whether it will be a handicap match or Jack has a mystery partner. We will find out. Then Blackwell goes on to say to Shere Khan that he made a mistake to pick this fight and he is not ready, and have people perhaps forgotten what happened to Shere Khan, like what Kevin Blackwell did to him last year. He says he'll do it again if he has to. And then we have an audio promo from the Omni Geek, which is a promo that was done last week. It's basically a recap of the promo. Unfortunately, I don't have it written in my notes, so to the best of my recollection, it was just basically how he came to intervene in Hutch Cale's situation, between Hutch and Kuso, the cartel, the Mad World, before things would get out of control. And that basically things should be done in an appropriate way rather than... Yeah, sorry, my notes aren't here for that. So next we have our fourth singles match, which is indeed between the Omni Geek, but this time the leader of the cartel, the mob boss, Viktor Vicious. Omni Geek accompanied by Brawl Kaiser, the Sentai interdimensional hero, and Viktor accompanied by our fellow cartel Mandalorian, Hutch Kale. Viktor wins the match to Omni Geek with a pinfall. And then we have our next audio promo, which is done by the current heavyweight number one contender, Johann Myeong. He says that Nero Napier finally came, as he did last week in that in-ring backstage event. Johann says Nero knows how to make his entrance. And then, does Nero think Johann would be pissed? The fact that he took out Tiki after Tigiri had left the ring. He says that Nero showing up will just make their match at the Super Show much more glorious, much more worthwhile. Johann does not fight the wounded or the broken. He says this match is for his friends and to give his family hope for their lives. Johann will be the next world champion after the 15 months of uncertainty that he's had on Flashbang so far. He says Odin guide the ship through storm and through brutal war. So then we have our fifth match of the afternoon, which is just a normal tag team match. There are no tournament matches here at the moment because of what happened last week weeks ago with Vaporwave's Apollo Hades and then Wilson Son of Will. The Time Bandits have had enough and they basically, wanted to put their foot in and say something. So Sandman and Thunderbolt face Aqualung and Apollo Hades. However, we see some pretty disgraceful tactics from Vaporwave as they manage to keep the Time Bandits, Sandman currently tagged in, out of the ring, bashing him against the steel steps, whatnot. And after 10 seconds, the Time Bandits have received a count-out disqualification loss, with the win going to Vaporwave. So then we have our sixth match of the afternoon, a singles match between Apex's Crimson Phoenix and the Troll Train, Tiki the Troll. Boy, I would love to hear the music that the Troll Train had the other week, but that's more for another story. So we had Mizuki and Nero as well as Revolos accompany Crimson, and then we had the number one contender, Johann Myeon, accompany Tiki. Crimson Phoenix won that match with a pinfall to Tiki the Troll. And then we have our main event of the night, just as VIP seem to have a practice match on Saturday afternoon Warzone. We also have our title holders Doom having a practice match against the team of Fabulous to make sure they have what it takes to defend rightfully at the Super Show next week. So Michael Macabre wins that match along with Mad Jack and Zericus. Michael Macabre had pinned Joseph Cowman along with his fellow faction members, which are Kimwang and Sugarfoot Iron. So that brings us to the end of the events on Sunday afternoon Flashbang this time. So the show length for this Flashbang show was 2 hours and 9 minutes. And then we have our segment summary. We have 7 matches, 8 promos, no backstage events, so that gives us a total of 15 overall events. If we subtract the 6 audio promos, that is a final tally of 9 produced events. And then I just want to remind you that we have our Flashbang Super Show this coming week. I have recorded this commentary on Friday afternoon it's Friday night in the United States, Saturday afternoon in Australia. So for you people in the Northern Hemisphere, your Super Show will be on Sunday, the 12th of September, Pacific Daylight Time to be determined. If you are in the Southern Hemisphere, that is on Monday, the 13th of September, and you can find it at twitch.tv/Edward Bosco. I will announce the Super Show card because I do have details and I think you deserve to know what great matches to expect. Being a Super Show, there will be many matches, such as the world title defense of Nero Napier versus Johann Myeon. We have our tag team title defense with our title holders, the Mad World, going against Nitzig and Viktor of the Cartel. We've got Hutch Kale versus the interdimensional champion Brawl Kaiser. We've got our tag team number one contenders battling it out, Spectre Sonata and the Forces of Nature. So while I'm here, the winner of Spectre Sonata and the Forces of Nature will go against the winner of the Mad World and the Cartel in a following week. Continuing on with our Super Show card, we have the one-on-one challenge of Lionel Matrix versus Alexis Edmonton. And then we've got Blight Howless versus Suicide Gemini, as Suicide seems to have been causing a bit of trouble in the ranks. So I guess we'll see if Blight can snuff him out and finally put a stop to that madness. We've got our Omni Slayer face-off against student Artemis. Does he surpass the teacher, Jagger Blackthorn? We've got Shere Khan versus Kevin Blackwell. We've got Grant Martin and DeLuna 13 versus Jack the Questionable in either a 2-on-1 handicap match or Jackie has a mysterious partner. And then we've got our trios title defense, the number one contenders on Warzone VIP versus Belt Holders Doom. Can Warzone win their trios titles back, or are they to stay on Flashbang? That is all for this episode of Flashbang in a Nutshell. So Flashbang currently seems to be on Sundays, as Edward Bosco seems to be having some acting classes or other stuff. But usually when things do go back to normal, Flashbang is on Friday nights at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Once again, you can find it on twitch.tv/Edward Bosco. Your Super Show this week will be on Sunday, September the 12th. Time to be advised, if you are in the MNW Discord, pay attention for a message. And that is all. This has been your host, Carla Bader from Melbourne, Australia. Wherever you are in the world, good morning, afternoon, evening, or night. It's been a pleasure talking to you all. And until next time, thank you.